Ms. Rashi Jain is an enterprising leader and planner with 17 plus years of strong record of contribution in streamlining operation, invigorating businesses, heightening productivity, systems and procedures. Seasoned development sector professional, adapt in developing and implementing resource mobilization strategy from private sector in India and across federation countries, including developing and nurturing new partnerships. Currently spearheading India SDG Trust to establish a reliable, responsible, and robust platform for collaboration, which makes a significant contribution towards India's achievement of sustainable development goals. The role also entails managing the pan-India operation of the trust and designing the resource mobilization strategy of the trust to liberalize strategic partnership in accordance with the Indian CSR framework for development programs that align with the national SDG indicators. Previously, she was leading the corporate partnership verticals at WaterAid India, an international NGO with presence in over 35 plus countries and working for over 3 decades in India in water sanitization and hygiene domain. Prior to shifting to development sector, she was part of the senior management team of one of the leading private sector banks in India, handling the role of senior vice president and responsible for profitability goals of a key geographical cluster. We are really blessed to have you amongst us, Ms. Rashi Jain, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure and honor, honestly, to be here, and excellent to see such lovely gathering of civil society organizations under one platform. So let me start by first congratulating, of course, Young Minds Foundation, Igniting Dreams of Young Mind Foundation for winning the award, and i2u for bringing in this platform to India. I think this was much needed. Having worked across corporates, the not-for-profit sector, and after that into the UN, and now actually I'm part of British Council. I've seen the length and breadth of this whole development space from the eye of a corporate and from the eye of a development sector professional. And yes, I completely agree with what Ms. Kakkar was saying, that there is a long way both the sides have worked together, but there is still a long way to go in trust building from both the sides. So I think that's something that will always be one of the requirements, and i2u is doing a brilliant job in bridging that gap. So congratulations for that first. I think another very important thing that i2u has done is bring the private sector policymakers and the most important civil society organizations. Again, going back to what Ms. Kakkar was saying, CSOs are somebody who have been the core DNA of development in India. And they will continue, we will continue to be the core of DNA of development in India. It's how we integrate the 3 pillars that, according to me, will truly lead to the transformational change we are looking at. I also have another very important thought with my past hat of working as the Secretary for the General for the CSR Trust for India. It's actually called the India SDG Trust. And what we were also looking at is how can we integrate the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 United Nations and the nations agreed Sustainable Development Goals within the framework of the development sector of India. So we had 2 big battles to fight. One, of course, to break down these Sustainable Development Goals, and I know why Pranav is smiling because he's done that battle, I think, but to break down that battle of complicated 17 goals and making them, clear, crystal, easy to understand, easy to absorb, easy to implement, within the Indian context, because they were global goals. The definitions are global, the indicators are global. Some of them are contextualized to India, some of them are not. So I would really congratulate UN in India, especially UN Resident Coordinator's Office and the UN SDGs and the UN DP team for breaking them down so well along with Niti Aayog. And now we have a document where all districts and states are ranked basis the SDG indicators. So why do we need them? Why are they so important? Why the whole world has gone crazy about the Sustainable Development Goals? It's something, like we used to say in the corporate sector, something that doesn't get monitored, doesn't get delivered. So if I have to look at a progress of a nation over the years, there has to be a measurable statistics of looking at the progress. And it has to be uniform globally. I think the Sustainable Development Goal gave us exactly that framework. 17 goals broken down into 240 odd indicators, which every country will be measured against every year. Now, the questions that a civil society organization, as majority of the audience here should ask me is, which is all fine, which looks very airy, very top line. How do I integrate all of that into my own work? Now, here is where the understanding of the SDGs is extremely important. I won't go into 17 goals. There's no time for that. It's elaborate. It's a whole study by itself. But I would strongly recommend go visit the UNDP site of India, UNDP India. And there is a huge framework where it's broken down extremely simply, each goal as to how it impacts. Now, I understand there are 12 sectors under which i2s works, right? 12 thematic areas under which i2s works. So I don't have to work on all 17 goals. I have to pick up, if my NGO works, a classic case of my experience being in water aid previously, it works in water and sanitation. Then there is a goal number 6, which says clean water and sanitation. That's a broad goal. That's like telling the Olympic wannabe medalist that I need to break the world record, right? Now, how do you break it into action? The clean, and this is just an example I'm quoting, so others working on education, please don't feel sad, or people working on elderly care. This is not a prioritization by any matrix. This is just my experience in the past when working in the sector speaking. So if the goal 6 says clean water and sanitation, our country will be measured against how many people in 2030 have got access to clean and safe drinking water, right? Which means if X is the world record, is it broken or not as an Olympic medalist? Now, this is the what. Now, what is the how's the how? The how is that a measure of indicator is every household or a percentage of household. India is a big country, right? We can't say every household. Let's say if we say 80% of households in India get 24/7 clean, safe, on premises drinking water. Those are the indicators, as I say. Then we have met the sustainable development. So would an Africa, so would a Pakistan, so would an America, or so would a United Kingdom, office. So this is where we get benchmarked against the world. And this is where the aid comes, not comes. This is where we are marked as developed, non-developed. All of that is part of how we perform on the SDGs. Now, what I need to be mindful if I'm running a civil society organization is, whenever I design a project, from start to end, I have to ensure one thought is always with me, that have I impacted the sustainable development indicator for that small geography that I'm trying to impact, whether it's a block or a district or a state, or a village for that matter, or a gram panchayat for that matter. The sum of parts will ensure that as a country we move up the curve, and our size and scale. If we get to do things, there is no stopping the world in achieving the SDG indicators. Just classic example. Uttar Pradesh and Bihar had the world's 2/3 open defecation population. The minute we went, leave aside the politics of the numbers being right or wrong, but the minute we moved that indicator up a curve, it moved global indicators. And that is the power India carries. And that is the power we all will have to work together in our small roles as civil society organizations. As I say, the sum of parts is bigger than the sum itself, right? The individual components itself. So this is where I'll stop. I think it's a long monologue, and it's not a topic which can be covered in 2 minutes, but I'm still happy I got to speak about this with all fantastic work being done around with all the civil society organizations, and i2u is bringing them on the same platform. I really hope and wish 5 years down the line, if we have this fun. So SDGs are to 2030, and we are in 2021. We exactly have 9 years to go, right? And so I just hope that 2026, 5 years from now, if we have this conversation, there are at least 50 NGOs from this group who can come and say that in my geography, these 4 indicators have moved from a point X to a point 2X. I think that's a measure of success, and that is what all of us as citizens of India on this 75th Independence Day should aim at.